Hello there, teacher friends. Are you interested in teaching English on iTalki? Well, if so, you probably have some questions, and I'm here to answer them. The first question I get asked quite often is, should I have a curriculum as a teacher on iTalki? And this depends on a few factors. There's not a simple yes or no answer. It depends on what your philosophy is as a teacher, what your goals are, and what the goals are of your students. But today I would like to give you a little bit of insight on this and what I did to actually create curriculum for myself. So first of all, what are some reasons for having curriculum? First of all, if you're a professional teacher on iTalki, more students will expect this. That's not to say professional teachers are any more organized or actually any better than community tutors, aside from the piece of paper that we have. But it is to say that when you have that title, sometimes students, that goes with a certain connotation, and students expect more of a set plan, all right? Number two, it could just help you out as a teacher in general. I mean, all of us are developing our, either our careers or just our skills overall as teachers. Whether if you want to get into teaching or not, it's a great idea to start developing a curriculum on your own. And the third reason is it's fun. You have your own liberty. You have no boss on iTalki. I mean, except for the wants and needs of your students, which we'll talk about in a second. But definitely take advantage, make the most of this. This is your chance to actually exercise these skills in the way that you want to. So make it interesting and make it fun. All right, so now moving on to how it could be fun. The first thing that you want to do is to throw in some interesting topics. This depends on your level, it depends on the demographic you're teaching, and it depends on the needs of your students. If you're teaching beginners, yeah, like go for food, go for, I don't know, holidays, travel, animals, of course. But also try to keep in mind that you want to give your beginner level students something that will be of interest to them and applicable to them, right? So if you're teaching children, you might want to focus on things like colors because it's very attractive to students. Whereas if you're teaching adults, you might focus on just the 2,000 core words, the core vocabulary that we use often, like abstract nouns, to kind of guide your process. So make sure you're aware of what demographic you're teaching. And for a lot of teachers on iTalki, we don't have the luxury of being really picky. And there are plenty of great students on iTalki, so make the most of that as well. You could try out some curriculum for your higher level students and lower level students, but it all starts off with some solid topics. If you want to know some places to go for the next step, and that is integrating material into your lessons, well, first of all, think about what you need to focus on. Listening, reading, speaking, writing, yeah, and grammar, of course, as well. I went, first of all, to BBC English. BBC Learning English. There's a big list of different grammar topics, and bam, there we go. That was my, like, 40 lessons right there. I know what I'm teaching for grammar. Right? That doesn't mean that learning is a linear process. They could learn 2 or 3 topics in one lesson, or it could take them 3 lessons to learn another. This is another thing you'll learn as a teacher, to tweak your curriculum. But at least it will give you a little bit of an insight. So what I started with, I was a little bit too heavy on the grammar when I started on iTalki, and just a word from the wise that is a little bit of a crutch that a lot of teachers and community tutors have when they start on iTalki, and I know that as a student as well. But anyway, there's a reason why it's a crutch. It's testable. So a lot of teachers like grammar because it's testable, it's teachable. So when I started off with, I would make a 10-lesson plan with a few topics for each lesson. Boom, that's it. Send it off to your students. This is what we're going to be doing for 10 lessons. Is also a really good way to get students to read book, because when you send them a curriculum, they know this guy's serious, or this person means business. Yeah. Aside from that, you could go to a British council. There are lots of great reading and listening activities there as well. In terms of writing and speaking, these are just different activities you could kind of ingrain into your lesson plan. Look at genre for writing. What are the types of text that students write? Well, maybe they write letters, maybe they write emails, maybe they write lists. Yeah, so try to utilize those different types of genres and integrate them into your lesson plans. That way, your students could get a taste of the different types of genres of writing, and hopefully you could also do it in a way that could be intermingled with their own interests as well. Yeah. So as I said, I started really heavy on the grammar, and then I kind of let time go on, and I kind of tweaked it. I put in more speaking, more listening exercises as well. When you're creating your curriculum, I think you should be cognizant of the time. 30 minutes versus 60-minute classes, there's a big difference there. Yeah, so keep that in mind too. I wouldn't try to do too much, because a lot of the time on iTalki, like there could be problems. There could be connection issues. Your students could show up late sometimes. They could show up unmotivated sometimes. But having this plan set in place is a really good way for your students to understand what's coming up and what I have to prepare for. And it also helps you as a teacher, because you could send them these resources before it starts. So basically what you need, I would say, is 10 lessons for each level, probably beginner, intermediate, advanced, and try to tailor it for the demographic that you're really trying to go for. One more word from the wise: not everybody wants a curriculum. iTalki is notorious for being informal and relaxed and laid back. So be prepared for that as well, because that could be a real selling point as well. If you're too structured, this could actually, I find, be a trigger for some students who come from learning environments where it's very structured and it's very by the book, and they want to be off the leash, I guess you could say, right? So I think that you should first embrace the goals of your students. Going more on the demographics, I was asked by a student, L, to give more insight, and that's why I'm making this video actually. I would say if you're teaching children, it is definitely a good idea to have a curriculum. And I think that if you're teaching on iTalki without any specific preferences for who you'll be teaching, definitely get a curriculum set in place. One thing I can tell you about teaching kids, and that's not my main area of expertise, but I have taught a lot of kids. One thing I can tell you about teaching kids on iTalki is that while it could be difficult to really click with a kid over Skype or over iTalki or Google Hangouts, it's also where a lot of loyalty comes from. Because when parents see their child getting on with somebody really well, then that could be a great opportunity for you to have a long-time loyal student. So I think that having a curriculum for children is definitely a great idea. Integrating pictures and short stories is a fantastic idea as well. You know what? I've even thrown in some videos in there as well, right? So be open to looking on YouTube for different videos that you could use. At the same time, it's a great idea for you to send this send the curriculum to the parents beforehand. That way they know exactly like if they have any problems with them watching videos, if they have any problems with them doing this exercise or that exercise, it's set in stone and it's easy for them to see. All right. The last thing I could say is that my curriculum is usually guided by homework as well. So I've kind of switched from having a curriculum for in class to having a curriculum for homework, because after 1,500 lessons on iTalki, I kind of remember a lot of my lessons off by heart. So just the most important thing is to remember that as you become a better teacher, you're going to remember these things. You're going to remember lessons off by heart. You're going to know where you could find everything, and all of these activities will come naturally to you. It's only right now that you have to do some of the field work, okay? So get that out of the way, and then you'll be able to relax in the future. All right, fantastic. I really hope this helps you out. If you have any suggestions on where to get material or where to plan curriculums, please leave a comment down in the box. If you have any questions for me about iTalki in general, please let me know. Hit the subscribe button for more tips and tricks for young ESL teachers. I'm Ryan. Keep smiling.